Let's get ready to begin.
This meeting is being conducted in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertisement in the Cape May Star and Wave on the Township website and posted on the bulletin boards in Township Hall. We request anyone wishing to address council, please wait for the mayor to recognize you. Please state your name and address for the record. And please remember, all comments must be kept to 3 minutes or less.
Thank you. Please stand for Pledge of Allegiance, a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which stands one nation under God.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Conrad?
Here.
Councilmember Coombs?
Here.
Councilmember Roy?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Perry?
Here.
Mayor Sippel.
Here. We're going to move down to the work session. We're going to do oath of office for Deputy Chief Don Bannerman. So I would ask Chief Lewis, your staff, and whoever's holding the Bible and doing an opinion, please come forward. And council, join me down below. And the manager. Come on up, manager. Come on.
Forgot about that. And in the badge.
Okay, the chief's going to read the bio for Deputy Chief before we do the oath of office.
Deputy Chief Donald Vanneman is 28 years in law enforcement. He's worked for Lower Township Police Department for over 20 years. He's held the positions of patrol officer, detective, sergeant, sergeant first class, lieutenant, captain, and now deputy chief. He also served on the Lower Township SWAT team and the Cape May County Regional SWAT and Sniper teams. Prior to the start of his career with the Lower Township Police Department in 2003, he was a New Jersey State Senior Corrections Officer at Bayside State Prison. Previous to corrections, he served as active duty with the U.S. Army Military Police, then as a sergeant for 5 years. After 5 years of active duty service, he transitioned to the U.S. Army Reserves, where he still currently serves as a special agent with the U.S. Army Criminal Investigation Division, holding the rank of Chief Warrant Officer 4. He's a graduate of the Gloucester County Police Academy, New Jersey Department of Corrections Academy, New Jersey State Association of Chiefs of Police Command and Leadership Course, Frontline Supervision, Police Executive Institute, 18th session, Accreditation Manager, and the Foundation for Executive Leadership courses. Deputy Chief Vanneman has also completed the Infrastructure Protection Certification, Command Level Resiliency, Command Level Evidence and Property Management course, OPRA and Records Management course, Police Risk Management, Critical Incident Planning, Disaster Management, Proactive Police Supervision, that's page 2 of 7, ICS 100 through 800, Holtz Police Supervision, SWAT, Sniper, and the Drug Recognition Expert Certification. He's also a graduate of the U.S. Army Military Police School, the Criminal Investigation Division Special Agent course, the Primary Leadership and Development course, Warrant Officer Candidate Basic, Advanced, and Intermediate level courses. During his military career, he has held the positions as Investigator, Patrol Officer, Patrol Supervisor, Team Leader, Squad Leader, Desk Sergeant, Battalion Ammunition Handler, Special Agent, Team Chief, Operations Officer, Protection Agent, Personal Security Officer, Mission Special Agent in Charge, OIC, Assistant Special Agent in Charge, and Detachment Commander. Deputy Chief Vanneman has served overseas in Iraq, Afghanistan, Kosovo, Macedonia, Korea, and Ireland. He's also served stateside in Alabama, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Washington, D.C., Hawaii, and New Jersey. Deputy Chief Vanneman is a recipient of the New Jersey VFW Law Enforcement of the Year Award, a Lower Township Police Department Distinguished Service Award, the New Jersey Department of Corrections Academy Professionalism Award, the Sergeant Audie Murphy Award, Commandant's List in Warrant Officer Candidate School, U.S. Army Bronze Star, 5 Army Commendation Medals, 7 Army Achievement Medals, Kosovo Campaign Medal, Iraqi Campaign Medal, Korean Defense Service Medal, Parachutist Badge, Canadian Parachutist Badge, and numerous other medals and ribbons. This is the short version. Deputy Chief Vanneman is a lifelong township resident and a Lower Cape May Regional High School graduate. Deputy Chief Vanneman's fiancee, Jessica Fritzinger, will be holding the Bible. His daughter, Liberty, and his son-in-law, who is a Lower Township police officer, Billy Kosis, will be pinning his badge. He's also accompanied by his 3 children, Marshall, Avery, and Jack, and his grandson, Dominic.
Good job, Chief.
Let me take a deep breath, okay? Let's give him a hand on that, okay?
Is the hand for me or?
It's for the deputy chief. I think we all can agree you should skip by this deputy chief and just, where's that chief at? Okay, anyway, I think we all agree that Don is one of the highly qualified deputy chief out there, probably the most qualified deputy chief we have out there in the county, if not the state. So I want to thank him for his service in the military and what he does for the township before we go through the formal process of oath and enlistment office. Here we go. Any way you want. There we go. I state your name.
I, Donald Bannerman,
Swear to support the Constitution
swear I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of
and the Constitution of
the State of New
the
Jersey.
State of New Jersey.
I bear true faith
I bear true faith
and allegiance to the
and
same
allegiance to the same
and to the governments established
and the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
on the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I will faithfully,
I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of
all the duties of
the position of Deputy Chief of Police
the position of Deputy Chief of Police,
for the Township of Lower
Township of Lower
Police Department
Police Department,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Deputy Chief. Okay.
Thank you.
We got somebody come up for some pictures?
Yeah,
All right.
rest of the crew.
Don't worry about the mayor, get in the middle. It's more important for you guys.
Future daughter-in-law, she's on her way.
Oh, one more coming.
We're filming that, Kevin?
Where'd he go? John, congratulations, bud.
Good job, John.
We'll give the police about a minute or two to exit the building before we begin the meeting. Okay, we'll move down to the consent agenda. Anybody from council want to comment on anything on the consent agenda?
I have no comment.
No comments from council. Anybody from the public want to comment on anything on the consent agenda? On the consent agenda only, though? Okay. Okay. We'll close the public portion.
Approval of the State Firemen's Association membership application, Daniel Stout, Senior Town Bank, and Courtney Olmhertz, Irma. Approval of the minutes, October 16th, 2023. Resolutions 2023-346 through 375. Ordinance 2023-21, an ordinance amending Chapter 340 Fire Prevention, Article 2, Uniform Fire Safety Code of the Code of the Township of Lower in order to modify fire inspection fees. And ordinance 2023-22, an ordinance amending Chapter 90 Police Department of the Code of the Township of Lower to amend the requirements associated with the employment of police officers to ensure compliance with the New Jersey Police Licensure Act. This is the first reading of both of these ordinances. The second reading and public hearing will be on December 4th.
Thank you. Is there a motion to move forward?
I'll make a motion.
Second motion.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Perry?
Yes.
Mayor Sippel?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2023-20, an ordinance amending Chapter 340 Fire Prevention of the Code of the Township of Lower in order to eliminate reference to the Boca Basic Fire Prevention Code and to replace same with the State of New Jersey Uniform Fire Code. This is the second reading and public hearing of this ordinance. This ordinance has been posted, published, and made available to the public.
Any council comments? Anybody from the public want to comment on this ordinance? I close the public portion.
I make a motion, we move forward.
Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Coombs?
Yes.
Councilmember Roy?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Perry?
Yes.
Mayor Sippel?
Yes. I'll go to Mr. Laffey for the manager report.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, I have a couple of things I wanted to talk about. The long-awaited Fishing Creek Road Project Phase 1 had started back on 10/23/23. It started with a mark out and test pits for drainage. Today, Monday through the following week and a half or so, scheduled work to begin for the drainage on that project. We have the final project paving is scheduled for mid to late January. This is all weather permitting, of course, but you're going to see a lot more activity out there in the coming weeks with that project, and we'll update the schools and everyone that needs to use those roads of any detours that happen during the course of that project. Also, you may notice people driving by on Bay Shore Road, Rotary Park has begun renovations. That's a $1.1 million project at Rotary Park. We secured that property. It was donated by the MUA. We're doing that in 2 phases because Phase 2 is located in wetlands buffer. That's where we're going to be placing a restroom, so that would happen probably sometime in the spring after permits are completed for that project. But you'll see the main part of that project completed, which is about $750,000 prior to Phase 2 going out to bid. Diamond Beach project, as you know, we're getting open space funding for that project in the sum of $846,000. That, too, is a $1.1 million project in Diamond Beach. And that's still in the review period until November 14th. Once we get final approval from the county after the review period, we can put that out to bid, and hopefully that will be finished by the summer of 2024 as well. We've started some renovations at David Douglas Memorial Park at the canal with some shelter refurbishing. We have a restroom we placed at the end of Lincoln Boulevard. We're in the design phase right now to make that park what it should be. And again, we hope to present that project to the Open Space Board and try and get some additional funds from the Open Spaces Board moving forward. We should have the final design to present sometime this spring to the Open Space Board, and then we'll go from there. And I think that round of funding is in August, so that project probably will not start until the following fall. That's all I have, sir.
Very good. Any questions for the manager? Anybody?
No.
Okay, we'll move down to the public comment portion of the meeting. Somebody from the public want to comment? Please go to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, please.
Hello, I'm sure you guys remember me. I'm Helen McGuire. I live on 30 Bennett in Shawcrest Mobile Park. I did get to talk to Phil Murphy the other day on Saturday. We spoke on the phone. We're not in total agreement, of course, and he made me think about a lot of things. Yes, we feel the increase they just put on us is unconscionable, but one of the things I was thinking of in looking at the other parks that maybe have been increased is we have no amenities. There's no improvements that have been made since 2022 when I paid $475. Now I'm up to $650. They say we have a dog park. We don't have a dog park. We have an area that's fenced in that's locked all the time unless we teach our dogs to jump over the fence. We can't really use the park. They say we have pickleball. We don't have pickleball. I don't know what kind of pickleball they're talking about, but we don't have that. They say we have boat slips and jet ski slips. Well, they pay for them. They're not something that the residents in the park get as being a resident. They're also for the general public, so the general public can rent those spaces also. Our wooder, that's one of our free things that we get. The wooder, well, that's been atrocious. It's, I think this week, all right, we've already had it shut off 2 to 3 times, and they're going to shut off again tomorrow. And I don't know how they're fixing it, because it's some of the same streets where we're getting shut down all through the summer and now through the fall. Trash, if you call it trash pickup, that's part of our amenities. Well, half the time they don't pick up the trash. A gentleman even put in the site, the Shawcrest Mobile Home Park site, the gentleman said, what great trash people we have. They slam the cans and they curse, and that's what we need to deal with this new ownership. So I wanted to point out for that 205 from 2022, instead of getting amenities, we've got nothing. The amenities we have, gone downhill. So also with that, I was looking at Governor Murphy's supporting house affordability bill that he's just bringing out. And he made a few, he's saying, he wants to keep New Jerseyans in New Jersey. And Legacy is kicking these people out, basically, because they can't afford it. The price that they're raising it to is just, you know what, I would say, okay, yeah, we got a lovely swimming pool, we got this. We don't have anything. We have nothing. They don't even do anything for the residents there. When you go and talk to them, they tell us none of our business. We don't own the place. They run it. We don't. The one thing that I read that he said was that New Jersey is the most dense place in the United States. I was like, really? So what I'm asking you guys, I mean, I know that we want an ordinance, we want something. We need help. We need help, you know, and my thing, I just retired in December. And unfortunately, I lost my husband. And this was our dream, that when we retired, we were going to live on Shawcrest. But what they're raising it to, I can't afford. And I just don't think that, you know, listening to the governor's comments and everything, that I read his whole thing, it's like, we're the people he's trying to help. You know, we're the people that, you know, a lot of us are all on fixed incomes. And I forgot to say, who is all here from Shawcrest? These are the people. These are their homes. And that's what he's talking about, our homes. This ain't no vacation spa for us. This is where we live. And we need help. I know there's other people that want to speak, but I just wanted to go to let you know what we're getting for our money. We're not getting a lot for our money. I know, like Mr. Laffey said, it's a beautiful piece of land. We're surrounded by the bay. I get that. It is beautiful, and I do love it. But I'm not going to be able to live the dream that my husband had for us if this continues. And they've already, the people that just got, that were new were being charged $850, they've already raised that to $905. Already. For what? For nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else want to go on record?
My name's Kevin McDonough. I live at 28 Kehoe in Shawcrest. And Helen said almost everything I wanted to say, except that my wife and I moved down here June of '22. Our rent was $750. It is now up to $905. My neighbor across the street, who's not part of Shawcrest, has a 60 by 100 foot lot, a two-story home. She pays $5,000 a year in taxes to Lower Township. They want $11,000 from me. What am I getting? Thank you. And like she said, most of us are on fixed incomes. Social Security's giving us a 3.2 increase. The legacy wants 11%. If that's not unconscionable, I don't know what is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Eileen McDonald. I also am a resident of Shawcrest. My husband and I purchased 2 years ago. In 2 years, our rent has gone up just under 25%. In 2 years. It's ridiculous. Our water, I think, Mr. Laffey, I think I sent you pictures of the water that was coming out of we spoke. The water coming out of our kitchen sink is brown sludge. And I'd be happy to share those pictures with you. If anyone in my family drank that water, they would probably be dead. There's particles coming out of it. It's muddy. It's brown. Every time a water main breaks, it's like they put a Band-Aid and it breaks further down the road. And every time they shut our water off, we have brown sludge coming out. We have to let the water run for an hour just to clean it. We can't drink our water. Something has to be done, and we need your help to get this accomplished. They're buying up other properties in New Jersey and doing the same thing to these people. We can't afford it. We want to stay here in New Jersey. My husband and I purchased it because we're getting ready to retire. I don't know if we're going to be able to move down here and live here on the rent, because every year, this year alone was just 11.5%. In 2 years, under 25%, it's ridiculous. So we're begging you. We don't know what else to do. We need voices from you. Everybody here from Shawcrest, please stand up. We're all neighbors. We need help. We're begging you, please, to do something. Some kind of rent control for Lower Township. I've spoken to several attorneys in New Jersey, and they all said the same thing, that it's unconscionable. And the only way we can do it is with the help from you, and I understand that it's up to each individual township or borough to make that decision. You can do that at your own discretion. So please, have a heart. For all of us, we want to stay where we are. We love where we are. We love our neighbors are wonderful. They're wonderful people. It's a wonderful place to be. Please, consider it. We need some kind of rent control put into place immediately, if possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Jeannie Strunk. I'm from Shawcrest also. I was here at the September meeting when the gentleman from the Mobile Home Association addressed all of you. And we left that day. You were all going to discuss, have a meeting, look into it. I know it's only been 2 months, but I'd like to know how far you've gotten.
When we finish the public portion of the meeting, I'm going to ask Mr. Laffey to provide some research and some data to the group.
Okay, so you haven't gotten anywhere in 2 months. Is that correct?
That's not correct. We're going to let you know.
Oh, okay.
Right,
I stand corrected.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Anybody else?
How you doing, everybody? My name is John Barton. I'm in Shawcrest. Purchased my place in May. The people who had it was $650. As soon as I bought the place, automatically went to $850. I go on vacation a couple weeks ago. I got engaged. Come back, my rent went up to $905. So how did it go from $650 in May to $905 now? It's ridiculous. They just throw stuff on the wall and say, hey, you know what, just raise them, keep, like, what, I don't understand, like, how did the cost of living, like, what happened? So now my fiance, his family's been in Shawcrest 40-something years. All these guys, pretty much the same. I got to know a lot of these guys. It's their home. They're getting pushed out. I just drove from Delco to be at this meeting tonight after working all day. My fiance, I had to have the conversation with her Saturday after our engagement that unfortunately we have to sell because we cannot maintain what these people are doing. Like, I don't know. It's just raising. So it's not like a little bit. They go up $50 a year. It's like crazy numbers. And do you guys feel this is good stuff? I mean, what do you feel about this? Like, it's crazy. These guys are all getting pushed out. I just got in and I'm getting pushed out and I just got in. I totally agree. So what am I supposed, like, so my fiance says, you know what? The happiest day of my life was 2 weeks ago when I told her what's going on here after we got back, after we got raised again, after just getting in. She said, the carpet from underneath my feet is getting taken out because this is my home. Her whole dream was to live in Shawcrest as a resident with all these guys. They all lived there their whole lives. I got to tell her, we have to get out because we're going to get, we can't keep up with the, I can't justify. How do we go from 650 to 905? And I'm only here a couple months. Like, what, like, can you do, if your rent went up that much, what'd you do? What am I to do? Like, who are these guys? Whose legacy? How did they do that to these people? They need you guys. You guys got to step up. These guys they're pushing these people out. They're all good people in this room. We need you guys. You guys have been elected to this office. We need your help now. That's all I got to say. Good job. Good job. Good job.
Anybody else? Okay, we're going to close the public portion of the meeting. And like I said a few minutes ago, no, come on up. The public meeting's still open then.
Good evening. My name is Bruce Tell, 397 Corson Lane, Irma, with the Lower Township Preservation Commission. We were here a few months ago asking for some help cleaning up the back of the Foster house. Drove by a few weeks after that and saw the job that was already on the way being done and thought it was like, wow. And then I went by a few weeks after that and saw how well it's cleaned out. It was beyond my expectations. We wanted to come to the last meetings, but we've had other things that had to go on, so we couldn't come. So I wanted to say thank you, finally, for all the work that you did. Something positive. Thank you for all the work that you got done in the back there. It was a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
Mary Tell, 397 Corson Lane in Irma. I have two things that are not related to each other but relate to the Historic Preservation Commission. Thing number one is the day that we all went to the Foster house, you asked me to make a list of the work that needed to be done and we would get some volunteers to get in there. I did do that. I sent the list to Joan Berkey, who was the architectural historian who worked with Michael Calafati on the interior of the house. She approved of work list that I had made up. She said it was consistent with the appropriate work for the interior. We then brought the list to the commission meeting, and Lou Thomas, who was, among other things, a restoration carpenter, had two questions. One was that we need to sand the woodwork, and we're fairly certain that there's lead-based paint somewhere under those layers because of the age of the house, but that he felt that if we had appropriate masks, since we were only lightly sanding, it would be okay. The more concerning one is the plaster in the ceiling in the kitchen. We don't know when it was added. It's not original because the beams and floorboards underneath it are actually painted. If it's early plaster from when they remodeled in 1830, it's okay. If it's plaster that was put in the 40s or 50s, it's okay. If it happened in between, there's a chance that it might have asbestos in it, and it would need environmental remediation when it's pulled down. I sent that email with those concerns to Mr. Donahue from OEM, who you said was going to be my contact, and I didn't get an answer. After 3 weeks, I sent the same email to Gary Douglas. He responded immediately, and he said he was going to talk it over with Mike, but we're ready to go. I didn't jump on it right away because it was so hot in there. I waited for the weather to cool, but now that it's cool, there's also not heat in there. So, we need to know if we can go ahead, and we need to know, it's not going to cost you anything. We're all volunteers. But we need to, know if we can go ahead, and we need to have access to the house. The thing number two is, and this is another thing that comes under historic preservation. Under the ordinance that created us, we are notified of application for demolition permits. And we have 30 days in which to respond if it's a property that we have concerns about. There have been only 3 that have come up. When they do come up, it used to be Mr. Moore, now it's Becca from the construction office, emails me the address. I check our list. If it's not on the list, I email her right back and say, no, it's okay, go ahead. If it is on our list, I have 30 days in which to respond. I have sent a letter each of those 3 times. The first 2 times, the houses came down anyway. But this last time, the application came in for 617 Jonathan Hoffman Road. The house was on the market for $675,000. It's a fourth quarter 19th century Italianate Victorian farmhouse. The real estate listing said probably a tear down, but could be restored if you want a project. So even the real estate agent admitted that the house, there was nothing wrong with the house, it just needed to be updated. But it went on the market, it sold in a month at that price, and I was watching it, so I knew when it was sold. A week later, I got the application for the demo. I was out of town. It was on a Monday, so I said, I can't get the letter till you do Thursday afternoon when I return. Thursday afternoon, I sent the letter. Saturday morning, the demolition equipment was there. Now, I know the construction official said, go ahead and arrange for the equipment. I have to wait till I get the letter, but as soon as I get the letter, I'll give you the go-ahead. There's no other way that that equipment could have been there that quickly. Lower Township, these demo permits come up, and no one knows about them except me now. Wildwood Crest, they have open hearings, public hearings. The public here doesn't know place is coming down until the demo equipment shows up and they start to tear the place apart. I want to show you, I went today and took a picture. I want to show you what it looked like. This is the house and the landscaping. Those pictures are from the real estate listing. That's what it looked like 6 weeks ago. This is what it looks like today. There's not a tree, a shrub, or a blade of grass left on that piece of property. Every time it rains, that dirt's washing into the canal, and it is now on the market for $1.575 million. Now, I know that pretty soon there's going to be a request for a variance to put at least 2 housing units on that. And I know from my own family, my dad was the city controller for the city of Wildwood for 32 years. And every time the mayor and commission talked about ratables, he had a fit. Because he knew that the tax dollars coming in for the ratables were going to go right back out again for additional services. Water, sewer, police, fire, school enrollment. They're not cash cows. And yet, Lower seems to be approving every time I look in the paper and see these variance requests, it's a lot that's being subdivided, and we're putting 2 units where there was 1. And it's taxing, and you're talking about taxes on the residents. This is how your taxes go up, the increase in services. And not only that, destroying all these old farmhouses is destroying the rural culture that is what makes Lower Township what it is. I don't want us to turn into condo city like Sea Isle or Wildwood. And that's what's happening. So, I don't know what to do about this construction office and the secret behind closed doors demo permits, but I'm not going to turn the letters in within a day anymore. I'm going to take the 30 days and let people in the neighborhood know that the place is coming down.
Okay, thank you. Your first item that you discussed as far as the work being done to Foster House, Mr. Laffey's going to comment on that because we actually spoke about this week. Okay. Mr. Laffey?
Yeah, Barry, I didn't email you back, but I know you deserve an email that you sent to Gary last week. Gary and I did speak. I met with our grants coordinator. We have to hire an architect again for the inside of that building, especially what you just discussed about the possible of lead paint and asbestos. So we're going to have an architect tell us what to do. And we also have to fix the outbuildings that are there as well. So there's going to be some work that has to be done there. So we have some funding in our economic development line that can pay for that architect. And then I had met with Mike Zampino last week of Triad Associates to discuss the possibility of getting some grant funding that's not historic open if I'm not mistaken, the open space funding for historic preservation is for the outside of a property. And now we're working on the inside. So we hired Mike Zampino. We hired Mike Zampino to come in and try and see what grant funding we can secure to get moving on the inside of that project. But we probably have to wait right now until the architect weighs in on what we can do there, right?
Joan sent me the approved interior work report that was part of that grant. I don't know if you have it, but I can...
Yeah, if you can forward that to me, I can probably, if Colleen has it, I can get it from the grants coordinator as well. But if you want to send it my way, she's not here until the end of the week. And I'll be gone at the end of the week for a day, so forward it to me tomorrow if you could, or Wednesday.
Okay, and Mr. Laffey, reference to the second number 2 item she had as far as demolition permits.
I have to look into that.
Look into that.
Can't answer
There's
it.
nothing being done behind closed doors. There's no harm being done. But then Mr. Laffey will look
Well,
into
can you
it.
tell me then?
So,
No, I'll have to look into that, Perry. Thank you. And Mr. Tell, thank you for your comments.
anybody else want to address council before we close the public portion? Yes, ma'am.
Carol and Tim Daly, Millman Lane in the Villas. My husband and I had received planning to build a home in the Villas, and we did that. It's not complete yet, but we had put all the appliances into the home, and they're all gas appliances. And when we came down, Millman Lane had paved the road. We had received permission to put a gas line in. But when the builder went to contact the gas company, there was a problem because the road was just installed last year. So we wrote a hardship letter asking for the contractor who put the road in had reached out with my builder, and they had been in agreement to come up with some kind of plan to make minimal changes to that to allow us to put a gas line in. And our concern is the temperatures are dripping down now. It's could be in the 20s very shortly, and there's no heat in the home. So we just need some sort of understanding which way to go. We did get the permission to get the gas line in, and I don't really know the procedure or policy when you have somebody with planning permission is building, and we never did get notification of this, the way that this would go if they put a new street down.
Okay. Anytime there's a new road put in the township, there's a moratorium in place for X amount of years. I can't reference word for word the ordinance says. Maybe the township clerk could weigh in here on the ordinance.
We've received the hardship. We've turned it over to the Public Works Department as well. There is no alternative to that. It cannot be done. It was $1 million project paving those roads.
But what is the policy for informing people that you won't get, when we got approval for a gas line?
When did you get the approval for the gas line? In 2019, and then it was paved in 2022.
But is there any cross-reference to anyone that should be notified that they should put a gas line
The
in?
gas company notifies all the residents prior to the
So
paving.
does the engineer.
Yes.
I guess we're the only ones weren't told.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. I mean, I know that Gary Douglas has reached out to you. I know that there have been conversations. Unfortunately, it's a 5-year moratorium.
Now, even though 2 blocks down, they've actually opened up the road in town.
Not on Millman.
Yeah, we
Yes,
have
they
pictures,
I
we
have
just
pictures.
came in.
Not going to a home on the other side. They actually cut it open.
Behind,
It's-
On Millman, going south on the left-hand side, they've cut the road open.
Well, that was a sinkhole. That was emergency repair. That's what that was. There was no home there.
No, there's no home.
It was a sinkhole, had emergency repair, the pipe collapsed.
Pump station at Ohio.
It's a pump station, yeah. All right, thank you.
Greenfield's coming up. Bill's coming up.
All right, Bill Greenfield, Villas. Yeah, in reference to the street opening there, I noticed the house that's next to the fishing club that was just built recently, and there's a propane tank on that, I guess, because they weren't allowed to open the street up for natural gas. But you can put gas appliances and have them set up to run off of propane, and then when they are able to connect the gas, you can convert them over to natural gas. Didn't know if you were aware of that, or...
They left.
They left.
All right, thank you.
I'll reach out to them.
Anybody else? Okay, we're going to close the public portion. I'm going to ask Mr. Laffey. Mr. Laffey and his staff has done research for the last couple of months on the short-term rental issues we have in the township. I'm going to ask Mr. Laffey to advise council when information came up with your research.
Mayor, I'm going to read a document that I prepared, along with the solicitor, too. And first of all, Ms. McGuire, I apologize, and I feel for you in your loss. It's moving. I do feel for you and the residents in Shawcrest, there's no doubt. Some of the things we can do at the township is try to enforce code enforcement issues when it comes to trash removal and some of those things. And you and I spoke on the phone Saturday, and I know that back in September of last year, not this past summer, I had told you that when the woman that showed me pictures of the failing water system there and the sludgy water and stuff, I called the health department director of the county myself, and they brought inspectors out. But I don't have any information on what happened after that inspection. Apparently, not much. So that's something I'll follow through with, and that's something we can help with, and as well as trash removal and things that are code violations. I'm going to read something in here that it's not as long as the chief's segment, but it has to deal with Shawcrest property only, nothing to do with any other legacy properties in the township. So bear with me as I read a couple pages here, and I also received a letter from Legacy as well. I was copied on a couple residents within Shawcrest that copied me and mayor and council on their letters to Legacy with no response. I sent a letter to them recently, or we did, our staff sent a letter to them recently, and they did respond as of Friday, and I'll read that as well after I finish what I prepared. If you guys can bear with me, I'm going to read a couple pages worth of things that I'm going to go over. And over the past year and several months, residents from Legacy Mobile Park community in Shawcrest have brought several issues to the attention of mayor and council at their mobile park. At first, some of the items were issues with trash removal and failing infrastructure resulting in unsanitary water. When notified of the trash removal issues, code enforcement officials, and we would do this every time if you have a problem. Call us, we'll send code enforcement out for any trash issues that you have or anything of the sort. Code enforcement officials presented violation notices to management, and issues were remediated at that time, prior to their next inspection. But according to you guys, it continues to happen, and if you keep letting us know, we'll continue to violate them and get them in court. They'll have to pay fines for the trash that they leave behind. There were also complaints with cloudy tap water, and residents had to run their faucets for several minutes or longer until clear water appeared. At that time, the township contacted Cape May County Health Department, which I said directly regarding the complaint. To my knowledge, inspectors visited the site, but I'm unaware of the results of that inspection. Shortly after, many residents complained at a public council meeting, I believe that was in February, council meeting regarding the increased rental fees associated with their particular properties. In February of 2023, we sent a letter to the VP of Legacy to notify them of the residents' concerns involving water quality, disruption of services, the collection of trash and recycling, as well as the increased rent imposed by the landlord. We also invited representatives of Legacy to attend an upcoming council meeting to discuss these issues directly with the representatives of Shawcrest community. We also indicated that the residents were requesting that the township consider rent control measures moving forward. As stated by our solicitor in previous council meetings, we believe that the rental issue is an agreement between the landlord and the tenant. We have had the opportunity to research the issue of rent control regulation and confirm that there are no laws in New Jersey which control or regulate rent increases. Absent state regulation, individual municipalities do have the ability to enact ordinances regulating rent increases. There was a bill introduced in legislation back in February of 2022. That may be the bill that you're talking about, Ms. McGuire, but it has not been passed as of yet. There are a number of municipalities throughout the state, primarily concentrated in North Jersey, who have enacted ordinances of this nature. However, 80% of the municipalities in the state have not enacted any form of rent control ordinances. Those ordinances vary in their application, as some are limited to mobile parks, mobile homes, age-restricted communities, and some apply to all rentals within the community. And there are others that are specific to certain types of housing. The last time the Division of Consumer Affairs surveyed municipalities that have some sort of rent control was in 2009. The survey can be viewed at, I have the website. I'm not going to read it. It's very long. If you want me to, I can make that available. The only municipality that appears to address this in Cape May County is Middle Township, and their ordinance was enacted in 1990 and is limited to mobile parks. According to their business administrator, Middle Township is presently revisiting their ordinance. They're not using it at this present time. From our point of view, imposing a rent control ordinance is a very slippery slope. When the township can enact a rent control ordinance if it sees fit to do so. Such an ordinance essentially interjects the township into a private contractual relationship between a landlord and a tenant. We also have concerns about limiting this one type of structure, community, or area of the township. Even though there's no current state laws or regulations that establish rent control laws, it has been accepted that municipalities can regulate this issue by an ordinance. This is not going to prevent the township from potentially being drawn into litigation if affected property owners or landlords elect to challenge the validity of any adopted ordinance. I think that there is a good chance that they would, as any rent control ordinance would probably undoubtedly have the impact on their investment. The solicitor and I do not think it's appropriate for the township to weigh in on whether or not rental increase enacted by Legacy Communities LLC is unconscionable or unreasonable. The issue is best addressed by the courts. Tenants have the ability to pay the former rent and withhold the difference between the amount and the increased rental amount. In response, the landlord can pursue an eviction on the grounds of the tenant's refusal to pay the increased rent. And I think you guys can substantiate some of the things that are happening there with your infrastructure for just that. The New Jersey Anti-Eviction Act specifically provides, among others, the following basis for eviction. And I quote, "The person has failed to pay rent after a valid notice of quit and notice of increase of said rent, provided the increase in rent and is not unconscionable and complies with any and all other laws or municipal ordinances governing rent increases." End quote. NJSA 2A:18-61.1. If a landlord pursues an eviction, the tenant has the ability to argue that the rent increases is unconscionable and that the cost should be reduced. The burden falls on the landlord to justify that the rent increases is appropriate and reasonable. The judge is also permitted to determine, based on their general knowledge, whether the proposed rent increase would shock the conscience of a reasonable person. Thus, there is a mechanism available to the tenant and the landlord to obtain determination from a superior court judge as to whether or not rent increase is reasonable or unreasonable. I would also note that a tenant cannot be removed from the resident without the landlord pursuing an eviction through the courts. The township staff has also researched rental fees associated with 4 of the 5 other mobile parks within the township, with an average monthly rental fee of $523.66 compared to Shawcrest average fee of $554.74. Can I finish this, please?
Please let the manager finish his.
Also,
briefing,
please keep
counsel.
in mind that since 2021, property values in Lower Township have increased nearly 20% all over Lower Township. That has led to an increased rental fees and property sales throughout Lower Township and Cape May County. Today, staff has also contacted the Cape May County Department of Aging and discussed programs that are available to seniors on fixed incomes and disabled individuals. Eligibility for these programs have recently been reassessed by the state of New Jersey, and individuals that may not have qualified for said programs in the past may be eligible now, which could put more resources in their pocket. Some of the programs listed are energy assistance programs, pharmaceutical assistance programs for seniors and the disabled, and New Jersey Save, to mention a few. A link is posted on our website, the township website, under the information tab, under helpful links. If you want that, it's something you could look at. Social Services has programs in place that people may qualify on fixed incomes to help them with different rent or other resources that can help them save money. And then, again, I have a letter that I received from Legacy, and I imagine that you're going to talk about this when I read it. Communication is a vital piece of maintaining our relationship. I got this from Sarah Garner, who's the regional property manager. I don't know her. I sent her an email, and I got a response last Friday. Communication is a vital piece of maintaining our relationship with residents, and after receiving your correspondence voicing common concerns, we wanted to discuss these topics as it relates to the residents of Shawcrest. And they gave me a few bullet points. One is the economic climate. As with most industries, over the course of Legacy's ownership, economic conditions have changed drastically. Interest rates have more than doubled, insurance costs have increased dramatically, and most common expenses have surpassed consumer price index. As much as possible, we work diligently to mitigate these costs to avoid the reflection of these costs in our increases. Our team has and will continue to work with financial integrity to preserve costs of operations, and we appreciate your cooperation and understanding as we navigate through the current state of the economy. The next bullet point is comparable properties. In order to stay competitive in this market, our team of analysts research rates of comparable properties to ensure our price structure remains consistent with other properties considered in market. This is a metric of Legacy pays close attention to when they're determining the rates for the upcoming year, which keeps them extremely competitive in this market, is what they said. Increased differences. The increased percentages are tiered per resident based on their current rent is based on market rent at the park. So what they're saying is every person in there allow them to pay different rents according to when they've been there. Like the gentleman said, I just bought a house a year and a half ago, and my rent went from $650 to $905 within a year and a half. Okay, I'm listening to what you have to say, and that's where I'm at with what they said back to me. as I stated, I can continue with your issues with your infrastructure and things like that. There are things that we can bring to their attention as well as the county health department. Has anyone here called the county health department as these events happen? I would help you do that. Who did you call?
Let's just not have an open discussion.
No,
Because we're not going to capture it on the video and the records, okay? So, Mr. Laffey, finish with your briefing to council, please.
I'm finished with what I'm on there. You want to,
Are you finished, Mr. Laffey?
yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. DeFrancois, our solicitor, I'm going to ask him to weigh in on this subject also.
Mr. Laffey already covered most of it, but given the volatility of the economy and, the specter of runaway inflation, I think everybody up here certainly can empathize with the plight of a renter or a homeowner who, in some instances, and you heard it tonight, they're facing an avalanche of increased cost over a very short period of time. But we also heard what Mr. Belasco, my law partner, has said about the landlord-tenant laws. People came in tonight, they talked about unconscionable rental increases, unreasonable rental increases. I think what Mr. Belasco was saying in his opinion was New Jersey has the most tenant-friendly landlord-tenant law in the country. It's the model. So there is recourse under the landlord-tenant law. And without giving legal advice, you review the landlord-tenant law, and what it basically says is if a tenant thinks that the price increase is unreasonable or unconscionable, the tenant's obligation is to pay the former rent and hold the other rent, the increased rent, in escrow if they can. And if the landlord wants to evict them, then the landlord would have to prove in landlord-tenant court, again, a very liberal, tenant-friendly court, that all these rental increases are reasonable or not unconscionable. So there's already recourse for everybody at any renter, not just people at Shawcrest. There's already recourse right in our landlord-tenant law. So, yeah, the township certainly has the legal right to enact rent control. You'd be opening up Pandora's box legally, and you'd have to deal with every other renter probably in the township who's faced just dramatically different costs between, say, 2020 and 2023. Or we could basically do what Mr. Laffey said. You can give them all the support that we can give them in terms of services, and basically direct them back to the landlord-tenant court, because if these rental increases are really unconscionable, if they're really unreasonable when you take in the totality of circumstances, you win. If they're not, or if a judge determines that they're not, that they're consistent with what's going on everywhere else, what's going on in the country, what is commensurate with the rental market in Cape May County, then you're probably not going to win. That's it. I can't really give legal advice. We heard at least one or two of the people speaking saying they've spoken to attorneys. I think the attorneys probably told them the same thing. There is recourse, and again, that's the pure legal aspect of it. I can't speak to the issue of whether or not the township really wants to embark upon adopting a rent control policy or not. Certainly, you can entertain a motion to see if council would want to move forward with that or not.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to finish if I could.
Mr. Laffey wants to.
Go ahead.
No, and again, in light of some of the things that our solicitor pointed out, some of the research that we did as well, I'd have to finish with, at this time, for the reasons listed in this statement, it's not recommended that council implements a rent control measure at this time.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion from any member of council to enact a rent control ordinance at this time? There is no motion at this time to move forward with an ordinance. Council comments? Councilman Conrad?
I had a few things, but Mr. Laffey covered them in his report about Fishing Creek Road and especially the park, and I want to give thanks to everyone that set up the Veterans Day Parade.
Okay. Councilman Roy?
I'd like to add to it that the, on Halloween,
Sorry, I can't hear you.
just give me half a minute. I'd just like to say that on behalf of the council, what an excellent job they did during the Halloween celebration.
Thank you.
The volunteers were excellent, and it was quite an attribute to the community.
We'll start the meeting going on.
I have nothing to add.
Okay, I have nothing to add either. Is
No,
there-
Councilman Coombs.
Is he on there?
Councilman Coombs, do you have anything to add? Are you there?
I'm here, yes, what?
Do you have anything for council comment?
No, just congrats to Deputy Chief Bannerman.
Hey,
Anything, Dave?
Is it done?
I have no
we're going to
comments.
entertain a motion to adjourn right now.
When I get done, I get ready to say that.
I'm sorry.
I have no comments on my end. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous.
All right. Good night.
See ya.